All right, morning, gents. We left off on the bottom of we had a machlekes at the bottom of Kuf Yud Zayin. Today's Daf Kuf Yud Ches. Kuf Yud Ches. I forgot to tell everyone it's a very Geschmacka Amud today, or Geschmacka Daf. So we had a machlekes as to the 3 or 4 meals. How many sudas should one be eating on Shabbos? Learn from the Pesukim of how many times it says the word Hayom in the Pasuk to eat on that day. And the question was whether it was including or not the Friday night meal. Are there 3 day meals plus the Friday night, which would be a total of 4, or was it when it said 3 meals, it included the Friday night meal? So, Tanan, bottom line of Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis, it says Noflo Deleka B'Leilei Shabbos. So let's look at our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says if there's a fire on Friday night, Matzilin Mazon Gimel Sudas, you take food for 3 sudas. So my lav delachil, and now that he didn't eat the meal and tells you the favor, says 3, not 4 meals. Quran says lo dachal. No, maybe he means that he already ate the Friday night meal and he has to make 3 meals for the next day. That's why he's allowed to save and carry outside 3 meals. And then the Mishnah says Shachris Matzilin Mazon Shtei Sudas. If the fire occurred on Shachris, then he goes ahead and saves 2 meals. So my lav delachil doesn't mean that he didn't eat yet. In other words, that he didn't eat Shabbos at all, and therefore it's only a total of 2 meals. The answer is lo dachal. No, maybe he already had his Shachris morning meal, and his 2 more meals in the day, bringing a total of 4. So then it says it says if in mincha the fire occurred, then he goes ahead and he's allowed to go ahead and take out the amount of food for 1 meal, carry it outside. So my lav delach is not referring to it. He didn't eat his 3rd meal yet, and therefore that's why you only save one and not 2 meals. Going as low dachal. No, he already ate his 3rd meal, and he saves his food for his 4th meal. The Sefer says Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yosi says, no, you always save 3 sudos. Michlal, the Tanakama, Gimel Svir Lane. You can infer from here that the Tanakama was working off the number of 3, not 4. So the Tanakama would agree. So rather, the Mishnah is obviously not like Reb Chitka. Reb Chitka was the opinion that you have 4 sudos on Shabbos and not 3. A person who has the amount of food for 2 sudos, lo yitel min tamchoy. He should not go ahead and take from the tamchoy. Tamchoy is basically like a soup kitchen. He used to go ahead and make food. Person didn't have what to eat, so he would take basically meals, food for the day. He would take 2 meals, right? And then it says, mazon arba lo yitel min kupa. If he has enough money, enough food for 14 meals for the week, he should not go ahead and take from the kupa. The kupa was like basically the city fund. The city fund provided money and food for people throughout the year. So if a person has enough money to go ahead and purchase 14 meals, then he's good for the week. So money, whose opinion is this? It's not Rabbanan Rabbi Chitka. Why? Because according to Rabbanan, it's every day is 2 meals and Shabbos is 3 meals, so there'll be a total of 15. And according to the other opinion, it'll be 16. Why? Because if it was the Rabbanan, it'll be 15 meals. And Reb Chitka it'll be 16. Why? Because remember, 4 meals on Shabbos plus the other 2 days, 2 a week. So 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4 for Shabbos would be a total of 16. So my answer is, Li'aylam Rabbanan, really it's the opinion of the Rabbanan. So why did it say 14, not 15? So Damrin and Lay, my debayis lemichel, b'afuki the Shabbos, achli b'Shabbos. That which you're going to eat your other meal, your 2nd meal on Friday, don't eat it on Friday, eat it Friday night. Let that be your meal. In other words, so you only have 1 meal Friday during the morning or during the day, and then you save your Friday night meal. You eat that Friday night, and then you eat 2 on Shabbos. There's your 3 meals. So therefore, it's a total of 14. So Goran says, Goran says, Achil b'Shabbos. So Leimer Rabbanan here. That's the case. Let's say it's the opinion of Rabbanan, not Rabbi Chitka. So if you take Rabbi Chitka, Damer Min Lei, my device lemicha b'malei Shabbos achli lo'orsa. No. So like this, that which you were going to eat on Friday, let's say your first meal Friday, eat that Friday night. Okay, so therefore that'll be your first Shabbos meal. And then the 2nd meal for Friday, eat the next day. So you have 3 meals the next day. And therefore it'll be a total of 4 on Shabbos. So Gemara says what? The kol yom demali b'Shabbos b'tanisa musvina. What? So he'll sit all day on Erev Shabbos and fasting. So Ella Hamani, whose opinion is this? Rabbi Kiva, he rather no, this is not Rabbanan, not Rabbi Chitka. Rather, this is the opinion of Rabbi Kiva. The Omar, Ase Shabboscha Chol v'al titzarich librios. You know what you should do? You're taking money from charity, from communal funds. Make your Saturday like a weekday. In other words, it's better to go ahead and make your Saturday not so special than to take more money from the community funds. So therefore, even though you're right, you can say it's 3 meals on Shabbos or 4 meals Shabbos. Yeah, that's the normal standard. But if you're going ahead and taking money from communal funds, if you use it, right, if you have an emergency situation, you need money from communal funds, then just have a regular, like you do during the week, only 2 meals, not 3 or 4. I've had the time we learned in the Mishnah. Ein paiskin lani however makalamakam mikikar bupunda yomid dalin sa besela. If we don't go ahead, we don't give less to a poor person who's passing through from one place to another, more than a loaf of bread, right? Which is this, a size of a pundayon. It's a pundayon, right? Then I was the loaf of bread is large enough that you can purchase with a pundayon. When dalit sa besela, right? When you can get 4 sa for 1 sela. In other words, basically the money is not, is average, is not too cheap, and therefore you buy basically this nice sized loaf. This loaf can be used for basically 2 meals. And Lon, if this poor person stays by you, nice nilo parnasas lino, then you give him also the amount of the parnasa. You give him wages for sleeping. We'll soon see what that means. Mean Shabbos, and if he's there for Shabbos, nice nilo mazon gimel sudos. You give him money for 3 meals, 3 not 4. So Leimer Rabbanan, he will Rebbe Chitka. Let's say there's a opinion of the Rabbanan, not Rebbe Chitka. So go right, so because it says you give him money for 3 meals for Shabbos, not 4. So the Gemara says no, Leimer Rebbe Chitka. Maybe it is Rebbe Chitka going to Ika Suda Bahade. Maybe the guy was traveling with the meal. So we're traveling with the meals, and therefore we give him 3 additional meals, which would be a total of 4 meals. Damin Alei Hadi Ika Bahade Achle. That which you have with you, go ahead and eat it. And eat one of the meal that you have with you. You should eat it, and then plus our 3 meals, you have a total of 4. Right? So what does that mean? So if he had a meal with him, so he should eat that on Shabbos. Therefore, when he leaves with nothing. So our answer is no. When he leaves, we also give him food to go. And we said earlier, we also give him parnas lina if he stays over. My parnas lina or papa puria. Base diet, right? We go ahead, we give him a bed, and we give him, a pillow and blanket for him to go ahead and sleep in, and that's what we supply him with if he's staying the evening. Fine, 2 dots. Tana Rabbanan, Kadosh Shachel Behein Arvis Madichin Lechel Behen Shachars. Person who uses dishes Friday night, one is allowed to go ahead and wash them to use them the next day. Shachris, if he has it for lunch, Madichin Lechel Behen B'Sarayim, you can go ahead and wash it for Shalshudas. If he washes it, if he uses it in the afternoon, you see in the morning, you can go ahead and wash it for the afternoon. But if he has shashudis, he should not go ahead and clean up. He should not go ahead and wash his dishes. But however, small silverware such as cups, right, and utensils and pitchers and stuff to drink out of, that madiach v'cholech kolayom. That you can wash anytime, even late Saturday afternoon. Why? There is no kevel shtia because a person can go ahead and drink at any time. It's not just something that a person goes ahead and sits down and eats it during the meal. Rather, drink can be any time, even after a person has already had his 3rd meal a day. So therefore, you can always go ahead and wash cups or pitchers or anything that's used for drinks. Person who goes ahead and has shalshudas, he is saved from 3 punishments, right? Three punishments. 3 times of when people are, during bad times when there'll be a lot of punishments given out. From the pains of Mashiach, right? From the din of Gehenna, and from the Melchamas Gog Magog, right? The big war at the end. What does it mean? It says over there, Yom. It says over here, Yom, right? Just the positive I keep bringing is, I'm just reading, it says over there, Vayom Moshe, Achlu Hayom, go ahead and eat today, right? Eat the month today. Ki Shabbos Hayom LaHashem, Hayom L'Tetziv B'Sadeh, right? Only tell you if you're not going to find it in the field, so eat from yesterday, eat the month from Friday. So it says over there, Yom Ksiv Hasan says over there, Hinei Anochi Shalech Lachem Asel Hanavi Bifnei Ba'ayim. Right? It says over there that I was sending a Navi over there, and it's talking about the word Yom, right? Office Yom Yom. So if the word that comes before the Chevla Shemashiach. And Medina Shal Gehenim, and the din of Gehenim. Ksiv Hasan says over there, Yom. It says by us Yom. Ksiv Hasan says over there, Yom Avara, right? Hayayim, right? Hahu. Right, so it says over there that the day of destruction, or the day of punishment, that is referring to the din of Gehenim, and therefore we say that a person has Shalshidus, he'll be saved from his din of Gehenim. And Mechemes Gog Ksiv Hacha says over there Yom. Ksiv Hasam says over there Yom Gog. It says over there Yom. So it's used the lashon of Yom. So once again, you get saved from Mechemes Gog. And Amar Rabbi Yechon Mishel Rabbi Yaisi Kol Hamaneg. It's a Shabbos. Noistin Lo Nachla B'Lim Tzar. Person who goes ahead and he honors Shabbos and he enjoys the Shabbos, right? It is a person gets rewarded, right? Like with something without boundaries. Shenamar, as the Pasuk says, as tisaneg al Hashem, rekavisicha abamasei aretz v'echleticha. So it says over there, right? And then you will enjoy, you have enjoyment, right, with Hashem, right? And then I shall put you on top of the heights of the world, right? V'echticha nachalas Yaakov Avicha. Then I will give you the nachla of Yaakov Avinu. Or you'll have the nachla of Avinu, right? If you go ahead and you're misaneg, right? If you enjoy. So what does it mean? And like this is like Avram, not like Avram Shekasubai Kumi Sarach Baretz La'archa, not like Avram had to go, right, and go out in his land and see if like Yitzchak Shekasubai Kilachaz Zarecha Tenas Aretz Israel. I'm going to give you these lands there. Ela Ki Yaakov, I said like Yaakov Shekasubai Parasa Yamav Akim Vatzafana Venegba, right? Then it goes all out. I will give you everything, no borders, north, south, east, west, no borders, not just this land, right? It's everywhere, right? I gave you everything, so therefore, I will give you a person who's misaneg, is eineg on Shabbos, I will give him, reward him, b'li mitzarim, right? Without borders, right? And the Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar Nitzel Mishibud Galiyos, right? He'll be saved from Shibud Galiyos, right? It says over here, that he'll be on top of the heights of the land. It says over there that you'll that I guess they'll be stored by the Shibu Galios, right? It says by the Shibu Galios. All right, so it says right. It's the same word b'masei, right? B'masei by the heights of there, b'masei no tidroch, right? They'll go ahead and they'll tread upon them. So therefore, you will be saved from the treading, right? You will those who has Oneg Shabbos. And Amar Rav Yehuda Marav Kol Misaneg is a Shabbos Noislam Mishilas Liboy. However, also he honors Shabbos, right? He enjoys the Shabbos. We will give him that which his heart desires. Shneimar says, Hashem Vayiti and Lechom Mishilas Libcha. Right? And he appears as Oneg for Hashem. Then he will give him all the that which his heart desires. And Oneg Zaini Yodemahu. I don't know what this word Oneg is. However, when you call Shabbos Oneg, so what does it mean? Oneg Shabbos. That's Oneg Shabbos. So b'meman goes. So how does one enjoy Shabbos? So Rav Yehuda Bered Rav Shmuel Bar Shiles Mishmei Rav Omar the Tavshil Shel Tradin. Right, you have cooked, I guess, beef. These different delicatessens, the dogim, gedolim, big fish, the roishe shuman, right, and then you have garlic, right. So I guess all these things are delicacies, right. You get some good drumettes, right, some good fish, some good filter fish. So Rab Chia Barash Yomar Rav Afilu Davar Muat, even something small, however, will cover Shabbos, right. Also Harei Oneg. If it's even something small, but it's for covered Shabbos, that's called Oneg. And Mahi, what is that? What's an example of that? Amar Papa, so Kasa the Hirsana, right? It's a little fried fish, all right, they used to have flour, oil. So that was even something which is small, something is small done in the Kavod Shabbos, that's called Oneg Shabbos. And Amar Rabbi Chia Bar Rabbi Yechon Kol Meshamer Shabbos Kil Chasai Afilu Oived Avodah Kedor Anshe Enosh Meichel. Whoever is Shemesh Shabbos Kil Chasa, even if he violates Avodah Zarah, like the generation of Enosh, nevertheless he will be Meichel, he will be forgiven. Shnei as the pasuk says, Ashrei Enosh Yaseh Zos V'Chulei Mechol. It says over there, right? Praise was Enosh, right? It was a bad generation. A lot of Avodah Zarah generation. It says Mechalo. I'll take Mechalo that he profaned, he violated. Ella Machol Lo, right? He was over there Machol Lo, right? You can be forgiven. You can be pardoned. So it was Machol Lo, and therefore so the person who goes ahead and Shemer Shabbos is not mechalo, but rather machalo, right? He is forgiven. And Amar Rav Yud Amar Rav Imalei Shamru Yisrael Shabbos Rishayna Lo Yishalta Ben Uma. Right? Had it been that the Bnei Yisrael would have kept the first Shabbos, they wouldn't have never been attacked by the generations. For other language or other people. And it was on the seventh day people went out together. They weren't supposed to. Ksibas says right there, and then Amalek came and attacked them. And Amar Rabbi Yechon Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, Imlei Mishamri Yisrael Shtei Shabbosos Kil Chasain Miyad Nigan. It says if all Bnei Yisrael would be Shemer 2 Shabbosim Kil Chasain properly, immediately they will be redeemed. It says, right? It says there, they said to the opposite that they will go ahead and guard his Shabbosim, Shabsosai, right, in plural, right? It says there, it says that I'll bring it to the mountain, I'll bring it to Gula. So if you go ahead and you keep multiple Shabbosim, 2 Shabbosim, then you will be worthy of being brought to the mountain of the Gula. And Amar Rabbi Yosi says, Rabbi Yosi is going to make multiple statements. Let my portions, right, be with those, who, I'm only Rabbi Yosi, but I want to be, my portion, my reward to be like those people who ate Shal Shudas. In other words, he's saying how great it is. One of these Shal Shudas, great reward for that. He's honoring Shabbos. And Amar Rabbi Yosi, hey, chelki megoymei halal b'chol yom. Let my reward be like those who finish halal every single day. They say the entire halal every day. If a person says halal every day, is mecharev megadif. He's a blasphemer. In other words, only a certain days are supposed to be halal. You're not supposed to say halal every single day, right? Rather, what type of halal is this? Right, referring to Pesukei Zimra. Rashi points out the 2 mizmorim that we say on the halukas and Pesukei Zimra. Halu is Hashem Shemayim and Halu Kel B'Kadsho. I think it's 3 and 5. Those are the mizmorim over here. It says that there that praiseworthy are those, right, who say those minimally every day. And Amar Rabbi Yosi Chalkim Mispalim Im Dimedume Chama. Right, let my portion be with those who daven with the redness of the sun. Sun is red twice. Once as it rises, the other times as it sets. Those are times of rachamim. Those are times when one should pray. And Amar Rabbi Chia Barabam Rabbi Yechon Mitzvah Lispalim Meduvidi Achama. It's a mitzvah to go ahead and mispalel with the redness of the sun very early for Shacharis, and as the sun is setting very late for Mincha. And Amar Rabbi Zera Ma'ikras Apasi Yerucha Im Shemesh Lifnei Yareach Dor Dor. So it says there, and it was seen with the sun before the moon. So when is the sun before the moon? Right, sun before the moon, right by as the sun is setting or the sun is rising. Rabbi Yosi says, Rabbi Yosi, let my portion with those who suffer and die from intestinal pains. Right, those most of tzaddikim, they die from intestinal disease. Those pains, those are very painful. It could be mechaper, it could be atoned for their averas. Also, those who die on the way to doing a mitzvah, my portion of theirs. Rabbi Yosi, let my portion be those who bring in the Shabbos in Tveria, right? Those bring the Shabbos in Tveria because over there, I guess Tveria was lower down, right? Since Tveria was lower down, therefore they would assume it would get dark earlier. Because it was like in a valley, and since it gets dark early, they would start Shabbos early. So therefore, they'd start Shabbos early. So in other words, they were rewarded, and even though they really knew that when Shabbos started, nevertheless they still started early. So it's therefore I should be rewarded like those who start Shabbos early, and those people who end Shabbos like those in Tzipori who are in the mountains, and even though the sun appears to set later on, so the day is longer. They end Shabbos later, and therefore, basically those people who extend Shabbos before and after. Let my portion be like those people. Rabbi Yosi, hey, my portion are those who sit people in the base medrash, not those who make others, leave the base medrash. So those who coordinate learning, and not those who, I guess, coordinate leaving. Let my portion be those who collect tzedakah, right? Collect tzedakah. There is no one, you try to collect as much as you can from everybody, as opposed to those who give out tzedakah, right, that is actually more difficult because that person perhaps he could show favoritism, and there could be issues in terms of who gets and how much. So therefore, I'd rather be, given the portion of those who collect tzedakah rather than those who actually give out because perhaps they have some personal tias there. Right, let my portion be like those who people are chayshed for them, and they didn't do anything. Now people think he did something wrong and didn't do anything wrong. Let my portion be with them. And now Rav Papa says, Rav Papa Didi, to me, chashdan v'lo havi bi. Rav Papa says, one time there was chayshed about me, and I was innocent. Nothing. It was not me. Some say it refers to another Maisa where perhaps he slipped and he fell, and and they were accusing him. Perhaps he did an aveira, but he really didn't do that aveira. So he was innocent of that. And Amar Rabbi Yesi chamesh bilas baalti v'natati chamesh arazim b'Yisrael. Right, I had relations 5 times with my wife, and from there the 5 great cedars grew, 5 great children. B'Yisrael maninun, and who were they? Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yesi. So it was Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Chalafta Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Avtila Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yesi. So those 5 sons were great rabbanim. Vardimas. Vardimas was one of his sons, number 6. Haina Vardimas, Haina Menachem. Right now, that what you said Menachem, that was Vardimas. Vardimas. Shepanav Daimin Leveret. I guess he had a rosy complexion. He had like a flower, maybe a light complexion. So the name of the Rebbeisi mitzvah Aina Loikayim. What do you mean? He only had relations 5 times. He did not fulfill the mitzvah Aina with his wife. Rather 5 times he was Baal, and then he was Chayzer and Baal a second time. And those 5 times he had sons from them. And Amar Rabbi Yismi miyamai loy karisi liishti l'shari sharim. In my days, I never call my wife, and my ox. Ella liishti basi. Rather, I call my wife my house. Right? I call her my house. She runs the house, the shari, and my ox is sadi, my field. And Amar Rabbi Yisi says Rabbi Yismi miyamai loy niskalti v'mila shili. During all my days, I never looked down at my milah, my makom milas. Einis is of Amru Leila Rebbe. They said to Rebbe, my time in Rabbeinu Kadosh. Why did they call you Rabbeinu Kadosh? Samar lehu, because he said to them, Miyamai lo niskalti b'milah shali. So he says, during my days, right, I never went ahead and looked at my my milah. So if that's the case, and he was called Rabbeinu Kadosh, but Rabbi Yosef said he also did the same thing. So why wasn't he called Rabbeinu Kadosh? Right? So the Gemara answers no. Rabbi Milsa, no. By Rebbe, there was actually also something else, right? Right? He never, placed his hand below his belt. So therefore, for such a reason, he was called Rabbeinu HaKadosh. And Amar Meyamai Leiro Kadosh Beisi Imrei Chaluki. Right? The walls of my home never saw the inside of my shirt, the seams of my clothing. Right? In other words, I wouldn't get undressed even in my room. Because he would go ahead and he would basically get dressed under his covers. He would get dressed under his covers. He wouldn't get dressed. So therefore, it's Tznua. Therefore, he was one of his hanagos. I never went against the words of my friends or my colleagues. I know that, for instance, I know that I'm not a Kohen. And if he told me go ahead and duchen and bless the people, I will go up. I wouldn't even argue with my friends there, even though I know I'm right and they're wrong. I never said something, had to retract it. I never said something about anybody else or something that wasn't true, that when I was asked about it, I had to go ahead and change around what I said. And Amarav Nachman Tisili the Kayamas Gimel Sudas. So now it says Rav Nachman, another series of statements. He says, I should have a reward, right, for always having Shalosh Sudas, for having 3 meals on Shabbos to honor Shabbos and to have Einik Shabbos. And Amar Rav Yehuda Tisili the Kaimas Iyun Tefillah. I should also be rewarded for being ma'ayin my Tefillah, davening with a lot of kavanah. Amar Rav Huna Berei Devishua Tisili Deloi Sagina Dalad Amos with the Arosh. I didn't walk around Dalad Amos with my head uncovered. And Amar Rav Sheshes Tisili the Kaimas Mitzvah Tefillin. I also should be rewarded that I fulfilled the mitzvah of Tefillin. Amar Rav Nachman Tisili the Kaimas Mitzvah Tzitzis. I also should be rewarded for the fact that I fulfilled the mitzvah of Tzitzis. And Amalei Rav Yosef, Rav Yosef, so said Rav Yosef, the son of Rabbi. So it says Lavuch b'ma'izayir. So he says your father, right? What was his mitzvah? What was he so special about? So Amalei, but tzitzis, he was special. He was very careful. Tzitzis yom echad havi kosalik b'darga. One time he was going up on a ladder, and ifsik lechuta v'loy nachis. right? He had a string broke, but he didn't go down. He didn't want to go down without tzitzis. The asa kamatale ramya, right? Until he didn't go down until basically had another thread brought to him in order for him to tie it and make sure that he was walking around with tzitzis. If Omer Abaye says Abaye, Tisli the Chi Chazina Tzimmer Rabbanan the Shalim Esachte says I should reward her. Why? Because when I see a Talmid Chacham, right, who basically has finished a Masechta, right, Avina Yom Yitel Rabbanan. I make like a yontif. I make a suda for the Rabbanan. And Amar Rabba, so a couple more lines. So Tisi Li. The Chiyasa Tzumim Rabbanan Kamada Dina. Lo Mazina Reishe Abasadia Kamdalim Hafchita Bezuchusei. Right. It says if a Talmid Chacham comes to me, right, they come for a din, right, they come to this certain whatever case that came in front of me, right, I don't go ahead and sleep until I make sure that he's going to win the case. This Talmid Chacham, because I love Talmid Chacham so much. However, Amar Mabar Ravashi, Pasina Li L'Tzumin Rabbanan Ladina. Says Mabar Ravashi, I can't judge a Talmid Chacham, right? I can't judge him in a case of Beis Din. My time. What's the reason? The Chaviv Alai Kegufa. I love him like I love myself. And Adam Reya Chaviv Latzim. A person can't see fault in himself, and therefore, if I do have a Talmid Chacham come to me in a court case, I'll always find in his favor. So therefore, I'm puzzled to go ahead and judge their cases. All right, we'll stop here. There's a Geshmak Daf. Hopefully tomorrow also looks Geshmak, and Mitzvah Shem will continue tomorrow. Have a good day.